Hello?
Hello, Jughead. This is Archie. Come over right away. It's a matter of life or death.
Oh, relax, Archie.
Attention, all true believers. Marvel Comics is on the air.
A friend of the unfortunate, enemy of criminals. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle.
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality.
Faster than an airplane, more powerful than a locomotive, impervious to bullets.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You know, I just wondered, did the Blue Beetle ever meet the Green Hornet? I feel like they'd have some kinship there, you know? They both have interesting guns and the color bug thing. And are there other colored bugs? Is it like a union? You know? The red salamander. I mean, it just seems like there should be others. Yeah. So anyway, hey guys, how you doing? We're doing something a little different today. We have a guest. And while I know there's an absolute ton of news to cover, we're going to flip things around because our guest is with us ready. So what we're going to do, Yellow Jacket. There you go. It's another good one. We are going to have our guest, and then we'll cover the news and talk about stuff after. So we'll still have a full show. We're just going to start with the guest. So let's go ahead and do our opening, and we'll bring them on. So be right back. Black Widow, maybe. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. Remember to stick around today. We got lots of great shows coming up, including What's in the Box, Mint Hunter? Sure, why not? And Kicking It with Henri. Remember, tomorrow we've got our new show that talks about the FOC books, the Final Order Cutoff books. That'll be on at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then we have the Original Art Show and Friday Night Live on tomorrow night. So you want to come stick around for all that. Remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And let's get right to our guest. He is the writer, artist, colorist, and all-around OMAC, Ryan Tavarez. Ryan, how you doing?
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah. You like the term OMAC, don't you? You use it on your website.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's kind of like an homage to the king himself, Jack Kirby, big inspiration of mine. And you know, just because I do everything, a little bit of everything, I thought it was kind of a fun moniker to take on. Pay tribute.
I like it. Now, Nomads is a book you've been doing for 10 years, right?
Oh yeah. Yep, it's how I cut my teeth on comics. How I taught myself to really make a printed book, and of course I've always been drawing, always been making little funny comics and doing, you know, looking at other superheroes and pop culture and drawing those things. But Nomads was when I finally sat down and said, okay, from beginning to end, by myself, I'm gonna make this. So it's kind of a living document.
Cool. Now, I've seen the books. They look terrific. But I want to get into the story and who there is and everything's going on. But I've got a question that immediately when I saw them, I was curious about is the coloring. You do the coloring as well, right?
I do. Yep.
Now, were these in print before or are they digital books originally?
So they're in print. So when 10 years ago, I started the Ash Can, which was a 13-page. I started with pencils, scanned it in, and I got my first tablet around then. And before that, I had always done like watercolors, markers, color pencil, that sort. But that was when I really got my first display tablet. So if you haven't seen them, it's like a monitor, but you can draw on it. Think like an iPad. And 10 years ago, these were a little bit harder to come by. They've kind of come down a lot in price and become more commonplace. But at that time, it was kind of a big step for me in being able to learn digital color and digital painting. And that was a whole big thing. I wanted my book to be in color. I wanted it to, I was kind of chasing what I was seeing at shows and trying to get my book to kind of look more like that and get to that point.
Now, the pages that are on the Kickstarter page seem very vibrant. Now, are those the same? Is that the same colors you get? Because it seems like the color process, normally when you go from RGB to CMYK, it dulls it out a little bit.
Yeah, it can get a little dicey. And that was something that I kind of had to learn. And when that first ash can definitely had some issues. And over time, just kind of learning because there's certain colors that aren't able to push as far. But really with the way that modern printing is, we're not doing like litho printing anymore. Right? Like the old school kind of printing. Digital printing has kind of come a long way, and being able to, obviously you can't stretch. I'm going to kind of nerd out a little bit here because I've worked in printing, worked at a print shop. I'm a graphic designer by day. And so the printers have gotten a lot better in kind of hitting and matching some of those colors. It's never a 1-to-1.
Right.
And typically for me, it's a matter of getting a physical proof. I always get a physical proof, look it over, see what needs to be adjusted, what can be fixed, what falls short, and what I love, and then kind of work from there. But over the course of 10 years, I've been able to kind of hone in on my style and my color palette.
Okay. Yeah. And that's not getting nerdy to me. Not only have I been, when I got into comics, I did the same thing you did, other than I can't draw as well as you. So I've inked, colored, lettered books, done all the background stuff, the page designs, the publishing. Also, I'm the son of a pressman. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, my dad was a pressman, ran printing presses his entire life. So,
wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the print shop that I worked at, and so I'm in Michigan. I worked at a print shop in East Point. And it was a very similar thing. They had been doing printing since the 70s and had, within the last like 10 or 15 years had switched over to all digital. But, a lot of that stuff still remained, a lot of that equipment and stuff. And I've always been very interested in analog printing. In fact, like the first Kickstarter campaign I did in 2020, I actually went through and I screen printed the majority of my merch. So my T-shirts were hand screen printed. I did screen printed posters. It was 2020. There was a lot of stuff going on, so I had a lot of time on my hands, and so I actually got myself one of those 4-head screen printing presses, so I could do that myself.
Nice.
It was fun. It's just one of those things. I say I'm a process junkie. I'm like really into the process, and I think that's what has kind of allowed me to take each step of like comic books, because professionally they're kind of made assembly line style, where you have a writer, a penciler, so on and so forth. Each step of the way there's someone to help move it along. But it really interested me in figuring out, well, how does all this come together? And it's also helped me out in future projects. So if I collaborate with people or work with other artists, I'm able to kind of like blend well and mesh well with them.
Cool. Yeah, just thing popped in my head. When I was 12, I remember getting the first G.I. Joe issue, and I believe it was printed on Baxter paper. And I remember taking it to my dad because I was like, oh, this is so cool looking. My dad looked at it and went, pulled out an eye loop and started looking at the printing. I'm like, this is different. I've never seen anybody do that to a comic book. And sure enough, got to see all the dots. But yeah, that's very different in printing. All right. let's stop the printing geeking
Yeah.
and talk about Nomads itself. Now, your new book is actually the 6 issues that you've done so far, collected together in a possible hardcover, right? Or you're doing a hardcover. There's a digital version and a regular version, but the Kickstarter is mainly for the hardcover, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So, what I wanted to do is we're at the halfway point of this story. Nomads, Hawk's story is a planned 12 issues. I have them written. I'm working on the second half of this story now. And in May, I teamed up with SourcePoint to do a collected edition.
Okay.
And one of the things I wanted to try to do was see if we could do a pre-order for a Kickstarter exclusive hardcover. And the other part of it too is I was telling you that first ash can was made 10 years ago. So what I wanted to do kind of like as a celebration was go back on that first issue, redraw it, recolor it, bring it up to snuff, and expand it, make it a full 20 pages. So that way it was more like a full issue, and really add to the book, add to the experience. So that way, moving forward, the foundation is set, and everyone can read Nomads as I imagined it and as it was intended.
All right. Now, if you're wondering why I've been asking you questions in this order, because it's not usually normal, I did this because I wanted to make sure people got a chance to get onto the show. So now we have probably our best audience. Tell us about Nomads. Tell us about Hawk and Boar and the universe you've created, and about your cat.
Yeah. So Ed is my editor. He's he's always with me. I'm at my drawing table right now, and he thinks it's time to hang out. Yeah, thank you.
K-pop.
I appreciate it. So I always the fast pitch is this: Nomads is kind of like Conan the Barbarian meets Mad Max with a splash of Terminator. It's a post-apocalyptic story. It doesn't always look like one. It kind of leans more towards the fantasy aspect. It takes place 2,000 years in the future in a world that has returned to the primal. Hawk, his entire tribe goes missing after a botched hunt, and he has to venture out into enemy territory where he encounters monsters, mutants, and killer robots. And along the way, he meets other tribes, other people who have been secluded over these 2,000 years, and the different ways that they've diverged from the past civilization. And the cool thing about this story is that it's no secret that it's 2,000 years in the future. But as Hawk travels out from these jungles, think almost like the Shire with hobbits. As he ventures out from these jungles, he sees more and more clues and remnants of what civilization was, whether that's buildings or these war mechs or you name it. And it's kind of like a progression from like the Stone Age into the future. So it's kind of like a play on that, and gives me a chance to kind of play with different elements and things, pull from different things that I love, that I grew up watching and reading, and it's kind of like a whole world. And we're following Hawk as he's ventures into this new primal world.
All right. You mentioned Conan, and I got to tell you, when I was out looking at the stuff and looking at the issues, I saw the cover for issue number 4.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And that is gorgeous. It is. I should have grabbed it. Like I said, I was kind of late putting everything together for this, but it is a Conan homage to the point that even the logo looks like the old Marvel Comics 70s Conan logo. Why did you do one homage cover? Because it doesn't look like the other ones, unless I'm missing it.
No.
It doesn't look like the other ones are homages. And I got to tell you, those homage covers would get me to stop and turn around every single time. So what made you do the Conan cover?
So for that 4th issue, when I was doing that 4th issue, I just I had an idea that I wanted to really take some time and pay tribute. So I didn't just do the cover as an homage cover, but I also did some poster prints to go along with it. One of them is a Bill Sienkiewicz cover. It's a Conan What If story, and it's where Conan is holding a revolver and he's pointing it straight at the reader. And I did one of the main villain in that first part of Nomads. He uses a revolver, and so I kind of swiped that, paid homage to that What If cover. So it was just kind of like it was a point in time where I was just trying to create some different things, and also thinking about like the convention circuit. So kind of like you said, like those covers would make you turn and look at it. It was kind of an experiment to see like, hey, if I play with some stuff that people are familiar with that they love, but kind of add my own twist, bring my own elements to it, can I get people to look at it? Can I get people to turn their heads, come up and talk to me? And yep, there it is.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah, Gil Kane cover. And there's these, so one of my favorite things to do at these shows is find those Savage Sword of Conan, the black and white mags, Sal Buscema, all that stuff. And I love hunting for those, and a lot of those covers are just so beautiful. Norum is another one, like a huge favorite of mine. I always, if I see a Norum cover, I grab it. And a lot of those covers, you mentioned the colors of Nomads. Those covers are just beautiful, vibrant, gorgeous. And, again, it's really kind of like a foundation, a thing that I've always loved, the sword and sorcery aspect, and kind of just bringing that into, Nomads is modern. I have a modern eye and modern style, but still paying tribute to all that stuff that came before.
Now, tell us about the Kickstarter. You've got about 60 some odd hours left.
Oh yeah.
And
out to the wire.
Yeah, and you're over halfway, so we still got a good chance. Especially if you're going to get everybody here to go and click and share it and put it on their social media feeds for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the Kickstarter, we're kind of an underdog right now. The Kickstarter launched a little closer to the holidays than I had hoped for. I was hoping to get in before the holiday rush. So we got a couple things working against us, but and at the same respect, we're trying to make the hardcover collection, but regardless, Nomads is made. It's going to be collected, but if you would like a chance to get an exclusive hardcover edition with all these cool extras, or even some of this the merch that I'm getting, think of it like a pre-order, and you can get a chance to get in on that before it hits the shelves in retail.
Plus, it looks like you got some very cool looking potential swag at goal levels or stretch levels.
So we have some stretch goals there. Like I'm a big believer in miracles, so I just because we got 2 days left doesn't mean that we can't break the limit and surpass it. And if we do, all those stretch goals apply to the hardcover edition. I really wanted to try to enrich the experience, and I wouldn't sleep on it. I probably won't get another chance to try to do a hardcover until the entire series is done. So this would be a great opportunity to do that, to get in on that.
All right. So tell me about your main character is Hawk, right?
Yeah.
With the bird mask.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's a mask, right?
Yep. It's a mask.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure, because I don't know these days.
You never know. Yeah. I get asked that occasionally. So in the world of Nomads, the different tribes and different people take on animals as kind of their symbol, their moniker. And Hawk, he goes by Hawk, and Boar goes by Boar, but really that's more of like a formality. The way that these tribes work in this world is that the people who you are closest to, your family, your friends, your tribe, they know your true name. But when you encounter another person from another tribe, you refer to them as simply Hawk or as Boar. And so one of the things I actually was talking with someone last week about the series, and they told me that the story kind of gives them buddy cop vibes because it focuses on this bond between two characters from two different tribes who have two very different ways of thinking. Hawk is much more stealthy. He's much quicker to try to talk to someone. The Boar King he's a tank. He's a master of war. Everything is a nail to him, and he's the hammer, right? And so as they go, we start to kind of peel away those exteriors, the mask, if you will, and they start to learn details about each other and begin to form a bond that hasn't been there between those tribes in many years.
Now, Hawk is looking for something, though, right? He's got this amulet. So tell me about the amulet and what his goal is, why he headed out into the greater world in the first place.
Yeah, so the inciting incident is Hawk, while out on a hunt that's gone wrong, his entire tribe gets wiped out, or so he thinks. He returns to camp to find everything ablaze, everything burning, and the only thing that remains in the morning in the ashes is this glowing amulet. But not just the amulet, he also sees tracks. So he takes the amulet and regroups himself and begins to follow those tracks out of the jungle, looking for his tribe and family. And it so happens that there's been other disappearances, and that's how we kind of learn about the Boar King. He's looking for his missing son. His son has been abducted, and the two find a mutual goal and set out on this quest to save their families.
Oh, very cool. Sounds like I like the buddy cop aspect that people are talking about, and I like the tribe thing. I like that it's kind of it has that sword and sorcery feel, but again, a modern setting. Terry Brooks does that with the Shannara things, where you're watching what looks to be this medieval type thing, and then suddenly you realize, no, this is the future, and the real Earth is buried under there, and I like that angle. Now, you said you've been working on this for 10 years. What else, besides the day job as a graphic artist, are you doing other books as well? Are you working outside for other companies? What's the other part of Ryan Tavarez's portfolio look like?
Yeah, so by day, I'm a graphic designer. I work in advertising, and I do a little bit of product design. But at night, I am a cartoonist through and through. And yeah, I've partnered with a bunch of different writers, been on a bunch of different projects. A notable one is, at least locally, is Motor City Mo. That's kind of like a crime noir romance story with a little bit of superpower edge to it. And that's a five book series that I've worked on with 3 Wiseman Media. And recently I teamed up with Alex Abyss, who was one of the founding members for Psychopathic Records, Insane Clown Posse. And I'm working on a sword and sorcery book with him called Chivalrous Arts. We released the first graphic novel. It's 100 pages this year. And we are working on volume 2, which is set to release in April of this coming year, 2025. And then, in between along the way, I'll take on, smaller projects, fill in, say there's a anthology or a compilation, I'll jump in on that. I've done several like comic jam pieces, Exquisite Corpse style, where it's like we take, this is with a group called 100% Comics. Mm-hmm. And we'll take something, for instance, we did Weapon X, and it's a tribute jam to that, where each page is redrawn by a different artist. And this one was a black and white jam piece. I think there's like 50 artists on it. And the proceeds of the project went to an art grant for other indie artists to help them fund their print run, almost like a la the Xeric grant, in a way. And then we also did this last year, we released a tribute to Batman Year One. Similar project, but this time it was in color and had a lot more artists. And then we ended up following it up with another black and white edition. Same thing. And I'm pretty sure they recently did a 1963 tribute. But I only did a pinup for that. I'm not sure when it's releasing, but
the Alan Moore image project.
Yeah, Stephen Pizzette and that project, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, interesting. All right, we're going to wrap this up pretty quick, but what's going on is Ryan has a Kickstarter right now. It's a definitive volume of Nomads. It's 172 pages, collects the 6 issues that have been done so far. It's the halfway point in the story, but it is definitely a good jumping on point. So you should definitely check this out. Again, Ryan, give me the elevator pitch for Nomads.
Yeah, 2,000 years in a world that's returned to the primal. Hawk is searching for his missing tribe. He has to venture out into enemy territory where he fights monsters, mutants, and killer robots.
Oh, there you go, guys. So, well, I appreciate you coming on, Ryan, and I wish you the best of luck with Nomads. Fingers crossed for you. And hopefully, like I said, everybody in the chat here will post the link on their social media feed for you. And
awesome.
We'll see if we can get that thing over the finish line. So.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys see me at a show or something one day. Come up to the table, say hi. Don't be scared. I always love talking and meeting with people, and I always bring some of my original art and stuff to show people. So if you're into that sort of thing, come on by. And
that's one of your Kickstarter rewards is the art, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like the best part of doing everything myself is I'm able to offer that to backers as kind of like a special keepsake reward where they can get some original art from the book.
Yeah. There you go. So if you're an original art collector, go help his campaign.
Yeah, get on it.
There you go. So, all right. Thank you again, Ryan.
Thanks, Dan.
Everybody else, we will be right back. We got a bunch of news to cover. And if we get some time, we're going to talk about Creature Commando. So we'll be right back.
In a world where you hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
That'd be really great. Thanks.
So, the show is called The Geek Chat. And really, there's just a couple of geeks.
I'm Rich.
I'm Dez.
And we are your hosts for this weekly guide into comic bookery and all the geeky stuff that goes with it.
And that pretty much says it all. They talk about the latest movies and shows.
Okay, I'll be completely honest with you. Overall, D+ movie.
So the end. Did you know who that is?
That's She-Ra, yeah.
Yes.
The new #1 comics of the week.
We rep Samuel Jackson and we rep Mace Windu.
I passed on this. I was like...
No regrets.
No regrets. I really wanted to like this book. I really did. Like, I really did.
And just chat with each other. And with you.
Oh, Daniel says, I dozed off with the first one. I have zero interest in the Joker Harley ship, not Harley herself. Enjoy, not for me. Yeah, this movie's gonna be rough for me to sit through, I'll be honest.
The Geek Chat, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Just a couple of honest geeks.
Let's be honest. Come on.
And that is why people watch us, because we're honest.
Giving their honest opinions.
And the thing you always have to remember about the internet is everyone has an opinion, and they all suck.
Part of the experience. FOC, a comic industry term for the final day a new comic can be ordered by a local comic shop. So, what does that mean to you? Well, it's your last chance to order a new comic book from your local comic shop. Order up! The FOC show will go over every book that's about to be cut off every Friday afternoon.
I'm going to highlight some of the stuff that I think is really worth paying attention to.
So that you can put in an order at your LCS for as many copies or as many variant covers as you want.
Sometimes the store needs to know to up their orders.
Never miss out on a popular comic again. Order up, part of the experience.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. I hope you guys enjoyed that chat with Ryan. I thought he was a great guy, and I really, really look forward to checking out his book. Please check out the Kickstarter. I think it's a cool looking project, and see if it's up for you. Something for you guys. Dan, did you see Reacher Season 3 release February 20th? I can't wait. I rewatched Season 1 and 2 a dozen times. It's really ready for new stuff. I am excited for it, too. It's one of Lisa and my favorite shows, so it's likely that when it comes out, because they put it up all at once, we will binge watch the hell out of it. I love the fact that they're doing the book Persuader, because it brings in Paulie, who is this absolute beast of a character that makes Reacher look small. And the actor Olivier, I think it's Olivier, but it's Olivier. Could just be Oliver, but it sounds like it's Olivier. Reacher's is just huge. So I think it'll be an interesting season to see how that plays out. Yeah, it is a Dutch name, so I'm not sure. Just Big. We just call him Big. I think that's, or Paulie. Just go with Paulie. I have read the book that it's based on, and it is an interesting character. And it's funny how they're jumping around from different novels. They're not doing them sequentially. But it's also interesting to me how they're attaching the character of Francis Neely, his friend that helps him out. They keep putting her in the seasons. And the big thing with Reacher is he's not supposed to have recurring characters. He's a nomad, ironically, with having just talked about the book Nomads. He travels constantly. He's a vagabond. And so there's only a few characters that ever repeat in the novels, and none that go through all of them other than Reacher. So the fact that Neely has been in all 3 seasons and is supposed to be getting her own spinoff show is kind of fascinating to me, because it's like, that's kind of breaking the one thing Lee Childs is trying to do. Yeah, that's Reacher's on the far left. Yeah, that's a big man. He'd make me look small. You heard any more on the Neely spinoff show? That is still moving forward. It got greenlit, but I think they'll start working on it in the new year. Now, I don't know what the material is going to be based off of, because Neely only shows up in like 3 or 4 of the Reacher novels altogether, and none without Jack. So this is going to be all new stuff. It'll be interesting to see if Lee Childs starts doing books about Neely, or getting his son to, because I think his son's actually taken over. His brother and son is, I don't know, it gets confusing when you have these long, I know the Jack Ryan books, I think it's his son took over for Tom Clancy, but anyway. All right, let's get to the news, because there's a lot of stuff going on. And oddly enough, Reacher was one of the things I had on the news thing. Let me get to that just in. Oh, no, that was over the weekend I did that one. So I did that story on Tuesday. Okay. We've got some great stuff here. Benedict Cumberbatch was at the Red Sea Film Festival over the weekend. And when he was asked about Marvel movies and his role in the MCU and stuff, he said that the thing about Marvel movies is these are big sand pits. They're grand gestures. When they're really good, they carry something of a zeitgeist. They speak to us of our culture. They're kind of myths of now. And they are so much fun to do. And then the wealth of talent you're surrounded by is truly awe-inspiring and a little humbling and scary. Now, what he means by that is he went on and he was talking about how the first time he got to work with Robert Downey Jr., he was kind of overwhelmed, because he had already been Iron Man. He had kind of gotten this mystique about him now. When he first did Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. was kind of making a comeback because of everything that happened to him. Well, by the time Benedict Cumberbatch joined, Downey Jr.'s status was really high up again. He said it was just looking at Robert Downey Jr. and How does he do it? It's extraordinary. And there's a way that he does it. And I learned that, and it's incredible. But also to watch him with Tom Holland, who is hot off the success of the first Spider-Man film, and they were bam, bam, bam. It took a bit for Cumberbatch to get into the groove, but after he ad-libbed the line douchebag. Remember that in the Avengers movie? Yeah, that was an ad-lib. Once he got that, though, he kind of figured it out. He said the best stuff on those huge canvas, things with huge amounts of responsibility and expectations of all these amazingly devoted fans, is to play and have fun and be free and to keep it alive and keep the breath in it. Keep it from becoming stale and readable. Now, finally, he said that he spoke about his character, Doctor Strange, and what more there might be to show of him, you know? He's dicey with something that could destroy him in pretty much everything. And yet, he's not a god. He's not been bitten by a radioactive spider. He hasn't got a load of nanotechs that his billions is selling, or his father's billions selling arms that bought him. He's a SWAT. He's an academic. He's just got a really fierce brain, but he is motivated by needing to control certain things at any cost. And that always comes at a cost. So I'm interested to see what those costs continue to be, how it wears on him, and how he needs to adapt to keep evolving and be what he needs to be in that universe, and how it affects him. There's a lot more to play with, and it's very exciting. And I love that, because that means he's excited to keep going as Doctor Strange. Did you guys check out Secret Level, the new show on Amazon Prime? I got a chance to watch all of them. There's 8 short animated episodes. There's going to be 7 more, I believe. I think there's 15 total. But, of course, one of my favorites was the Warhammer one. Well, at the same time that came out, Henry Cavill gave us an update on his involvement in Warhammer. Now, it's been about 2 years since Amazon MGM Studios acquired the global rights to Warhammer 40K, and how they got Henry Cavill to star. But he came on and he said, "My incredible team and I, alongside the brilliant minds at Games Workshop, have been working away in concept rooms, breaking down approaches to the enormity and magnificence of the Warhammer world. Together, we've been sifting through the plethora of incredible characters and poring over old tombs and texts. Our combined efforts have led us to a fantastic place to start our universe, which has been agreed upon by those up on high at both Amazon and Game Workshop." Now, this is without a showrunner yet or anything like that, but it sounds like they finally have their approach and what role Henry Cavill is going to be playing. Now, I don't know if this is related, but recently Games Workshop introduced a new Space Marine, and Space Marines are kind of the face of Warhammer. They're the blue suit armored guys, and they introduced a Lieutenant Titus. Now, this is a newer figure. He's part of the Space Marine video game. He's showing up in all the mobile games. I've got him on my Tacticus game. They even put out a commemorative figure of him just this past week. So they're really pushing this Titus figure. So it wouldn't surprise me if that is who we end up getting as Henry Cavill's role, and we're following Titus as the lead of the Warhammer universe. And knowing what I know about Warhammer, which is only learned over the last few years, there is a ton of stuff. I mean, seriously, there is just so many factions with backstories and history, and there's all these novels that are out there for this. It's like there are so many people that know nothing about this world for it to be as rich as it is. It's kind of amazing, really. So how they approach it is going to be interesting, because you don't want to overwhelm people. You want to find a little niche of the corner of it to focus on and then slowly expand out. And the interesting thing also is that they talk about Amazon having the global rights to Warhammer 40K, but that's just one part of it. There's also Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warhammer the Old Republic, or the Old World. So this is just the tip of the frickin' iceberg. Be interesting to see what they do with it. But if you want to get just a little sampling of what Warhammer is, check out the episode of Secret Level that focuses on Warhammer. But there's also one for Pac-Man, which was really disturbing. There was a Dungeons and Dragons one, which was really good. There was quite a few of them that I really liked, and some that I just kind of scratched my head going, what's this for? But anyway, all right, let's move on. Jeremy Renner has revealed he is doing the final edit on his book about lessons learned through his near-fatal snowplow accident. He said, it was 2 years ago in January, and I'm very proud to overcome a great adversity in my life. Now, Renner said of the accident in which he was crushed by his own snow removal tractor on New Year's Day 2023, he says, I'm forever grateful for all the love and support I've gotten from the people all around the world, and I never knew existed that propelled me to get better. It's the only thing that really defines me in my life at this point. There's so many wonderful gifts that come from being tested into your limits of death, because I did die, and I came back, and I came back for a reason. I had nothing to do with me. If it was my choice, I'd rather have stayed, but I came back, and I'm glad I'm back. The freedoms and the gifts bestowed upon me because of that great test, of crushing 38 bones, eye coming out, the terrible things that happened in a crushing injury. That said, nothing at the end of it. I can see that now coming out of it. Wow, that's pretty deep right there. I mean, to say that he would rather have stayed, that he was in so much pain that he would rather have died is basically what he was saying. Damn. All right, we got news that Chris Evans is coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He'll be appearing in the Avengers Doomsday, which, of course, is being directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. Now, at this point, the role isn't entirely clear, but sources says that Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson's character will return as Captain America in the movie. So Evans in the Captain America costume seems less likely, but he could be like, I don't know. There's a lot of workarounds. Damn, Ed, really? Lesson 1, man. But there is a version that shows him as an older guy running S.H.I.E.L.D. He could come back as Nomad, or he could come back as a multiverse version. Hell, even the Hydra version of Captain America. So, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Dr. Doom. Chris Evans could come back as anything. He could come back as Human Torch. Wouldn't it be cool, though? This is just me riffing here. If he came back as the World War II Captain America that actually didn't end up frozen in time, who continued fighting with the Allies and making a team with Namor and an android Human Torch, and we get the invaders in the Doomsday. Wouldn't that be awesome? I would love to see that. All right, in one of the stranger casting news, I just scratched my head at this one. Jeremy Allen White, star of The Bear, the main chef in The Bear, is joining the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie. The strange part isn't him joining the Star Wars universe. I mean, I could see him fitting in many ways. But it's a specific role he's taking. He's going to be playing Rata the Hutt, the infamous son of Jabba the Hutt, or the son of the infamous Jabba the Hutt, depending on how you read that sentence. Now, and it's not a cameo. It's a substantial role. But Rata, at least in his other appearances, it's not like he's like a human offspring of Jabba and a humanoid alien that he had relations with. He's a Hutt. He's a big wormy-looking guy, slug-like guy. So I'm assuming that White is just doing the voice of the character, though I could see him totally doing the gray pajamas with the balls, doing the motion capture thing. But Jeremy Allen White to play a Hutt is kind of weird. He's come a long way since Lip Gallagher. Yes, he has. And he'll be joining Sigourney Weaver, who has also joined the cast of the movie, along with, of course, Pedro Pascal. All right. 2 bits of news that came out just recently. One of is that The Wrap is reporting that Sony is done making Spider-Man adjacent movies. You know, like Craven, Madam Web, Morbius, Venom. They're done. I think they finally realized that it's not working. I'm not sure why it took them that many movies to figure it out, but it did. So what they're going to focus on going forward is said to be like the TV show Spider-Man Noir, Across the Spider-Verse movies, and getting back to doing the Spider-Man movies with Marvel. Well, that's as long as the contract thing. Because if you're wondering, well, why did they make these movies and not have Spider-Man in them? Like Andrew Garfield was there. He would have come back. Because contractually they couldn't. It seems that, yes, they make a lot of money doing the movies with the MCU, with Spider-Man. That's where they make most of their money. But as part of the contract, they couldn't use Spider-Man in their universe and in the MCU. So they had the choice of one or the other. So while they're doing these movies with Tom Holland in the MCU, they couldn't drop him into these other movies. Now, why that restricted them from using Miles Morales, I don't know. Seems like they could have done that, but yeah. But they finally realized, yeah, I don't think anybody thinks Craven is going to be a good movie, is going to be a hit. It's looking to be the lowest opening weekend of any of them, and they're trying. They had a big event down at CCXP, and nobody showed up for the panel. Nobody. That's pretty bad. So, all right, and then we're going to move to the big news, and this is being reported by Deadline and Variety and all the major entertainment news outlets. So it's got to be true, though James Gunn hasn't confirmed yet. But usually when this many outlets are talking about it, they have greenlit a Clayface movie. So this is by a script from Mike Flanagan, the guy that did Dr. Sleep, who's currently working on a new Exorcist. He's reworking the script for a new version of Carrie. So he's kind of a horror guy. And Flanagan has wrote the script. He was also supposed to direct it, but because of his work on the Exorcist reboot, he's not going to be able to. So they're going to find their own, find another director, but they're working on a script by him. And this is supposed to be a horror take on Clayface. Now, Flanagan had expressed in the past an interest in doing a standalone Clayface movie. Now, he wrote this on Twitter back in 2021 that he wanted to do an approach that was a horror, thriller, tragedy type thing. Now, although Flanagan wasn't pitching this to be a character in Matt Reeves's DC Elseworld, the Batman epic crime saga, that seems to be where it's headed. Because Matt Reeves and his producing partner, I lost the name, Lynn Harris, are going to be producing the Clayface movie. So it looks like it's becoming part of this, and word is that Clayface will also appear in the Batman 2. How big a role? Don't know. Now, if they would have said, we're doing a Clayface TV series after Penguin, I would have been like, hot damn, let's do it. But a Clayface movie, That just seems, I don't know. I mean, can they do it low budget where it doesn't have to be spectacular? That way, as long as it does decent, it's a success. Because, I mean, how many people are going to want to go see Clayface as, it's kind of weird. Now, if you're not familiar with the character of Clayface, he's a legacy character in a lot of ways. He's been a Batman villain since like the early 40s. He's been Basil Carlo and Matt Hagen, Preston Payne, Sandra Fuller, Cassius Payne, Peter Malley. And each of them has the power to they're kind of malleable clay, their body structure, and become other people. A theater release movie or a streaming movie for Clayface. They've been saying it's a theatrical release. I haven't heard anything about it being streaming. And to the best of my knowledge, Warner Brothers has moved away the idea of doing straight to streaming movies. That's why Batgirl got killed and Blue Beetle went to the theater, because they want the theatrical money. So, also what I'm hearing is that Matt Hagen is going to be the focus, though Basil Carlo has more of a horror backstory. So it might be kind of a combination of the villain, the different versions of the villain. JD says, I could see that concept being some really terrifying body horror. Absolutely. I could see that. Also, shape-shifting is kind of an interesting thing because you don't have to show it too much. And it's supposed to be a little bit more grounded. That way it could fit in with the Matt Reeves stuff. But it's kind of fascinating because I think if they do it, I think it was bay leaves, not basil. Honey. Oh, it's Eddie. So, I think it's an interesting idea to build the character up because I like the idea of them building the Batman universe around with these side projects and stuff. But I don't know, Clayface. I mean, Penguin, at least everybody knows the Penguin. Clayface, do you guys think he's popular enough to carry a movie? You're all welcome. Yeah, thank you, Eddie. He'll be here all week. Tip your waiters. Yeah. So, but along with the rumor of Clayface appearing in the Batman 2, they're saying now that Scarecrow is going to be the Batman 2 as well, but that's not coming from the main sources. That's coming from insiders again. So I think you can throw out most of that other than that we are getting a Clayface movie. It's not confirmed that it's going to be part of the Batman universe, the Matt Reeves Batman universe, but that's what it's supposed to be. That's what everybody's saying. And that he's going to appear in Batman 2. So I'm fascinated by it. I really am. What actor would you get? It sounds like DC's going to try to do what Sony learned not to. Yeah, I still like Venom, and I'm still going to see Craven at home. Oh, yeah, when Craven comes out, I'm going to watch it. But he was the final big bad in one of the Arkham games and a really horrifying origin in the 90s animated Batman. I think most of the audience is familiar. Okay. All right, guys. You know what? I've been telling you, come back, post stuff on the YouTube channel. So why don't you guys do this? And we'll talk about it next week. But tell me which version of Clayface you think it should be if you have an opinion. What actor do you think should play Clayface that could carry the role? Sounds like Jim Carrey, actually. But and do you think this is a good idea? Tell me those things. And then the best answer we'll talk about next week. Yeah. So Clayface coming to the theaters. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Remember, we've got Mint Hunter tonight. We've got What's in the Box, and we have the new show, Comic Dunes.
Yes, no Mint Hunter. That's
Mint Hunter.
Yeah.
He's off on safari. So Comic Dunes, What's in the Box, and, of course, Kicking It with Henri.
Nope.
No kicking?
That's Tuesday. You're thinking of the news.
Sketch Up.
Sketch Up. There you go.
I'm old, guys. The beard's white for a reason. Beard's white because I haven't had a chance to dye it in a long ass time. So, What's in the Box? Comic Dunes, Sketch Up tonight. But yeah, everybody have a great weekend. And again, go to the YouTube page, hit the thumbs up there if you haven't done it yet, and tell me what actor you think should play Clayface, which version of Clayface, and if you think it's a good idea. And I'll see you all next week. Have a good one.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.